Okay.
All right.
And after a long hiatus, we're back. So, because Natalie was sick.
Miserable hiatus.
Miserable.
So sick, actually. I lost like 10 pounds. And,
Nice.
I was just, I felt very
Nice
slim.
as
I was
in
looking at
kind?
myself. Yeah, nice as like I had a sick burn.
Nice.
It was a miserable, horrible experience that I would say don't get the flu. I was incredibly
it was the
sick.
flu, right?
It was not COVID,
Well,
and it had all of the symptoms. I
yeah.
never went to the doctor. I just was like dead for 2 days. And then really sick.
You were
after that
dead
for like 5. Yeah.
We have your
Kelsey
certificate, and we're going to be able to do some cool stuff now that you're legally dead. It's going to be sweet.
It's like the plot to a 90s movie.
Yeah. But throughout all of that, you're back in the fold, so that, so that everyone knows we are...
headstrong, stubborn, quibbling, self-centered, vindictive, obnoxious, hormonal, sexually preoccupied, evil, thieving, cross-dressing jerks.
Yeah.
That's
and
us.
This is Inane Blather. So anyway, but yeah, it's like been a little while.
It has.
I've been missing out on it, and there was all this stuff. It's like, oh my gosh, let's talk about this. Oh, let's pod tonight.
Wait.
No, you're like, I'm sick. What?
Are you back on Twitter?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, I thought you just
Why?
got tired of writing things down. I just realized that you had said you had been seeing on Twitter some blah 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 whatever. And then I was
already
like,
said
I thought
that.
you were going to be.
I've been tweeting from Inane Blather. So I thought that at the
that's
least
your
we could gather a
workaround.
few followers from doing that.
Okay.
But no, it's just me.
Are you
being
verified? $8 a month?
Fuck no. I don't know even know if they brought that back. But yeah, it's like, no, I do notice when people are verified so I can call them out for being dipshits.
Yeah.
But yeah, I even, without Twitter, how would I know that 21 hours ago, Dr. Jordan B. Peterson said, "Sorry, not beautiful, and no amount of authoritarian compassion is going to change that," with a fucking smiley face emoticon, old school, colon, right parentheses.
He did that again?
In response to, yes, authoritarian compassion this time.
Oh, God.
In response to some video of course, a drag queen dancing in a church in some sort of video. It looks really cool. I haven't even looked at it. But the drag queen Britta Filter, which is an awesome drag queen name.
Really funny.
Performing here in a church as part of a Pride initiative. Was invited by the Biden administration to perform at the signing of same-sex marriage legislation on Tuesday. Well, that's cool.
All that woke agenda.
Yeah, it's pretty cool that I got this from Jordan Peterson retweeting Ian Miles Chong, who's a fucking R-word too. But, oh man, it's just a nightmare.
I just feel like Jordan
I can't
Peterson,
get away from
it seems like he already tweeted, okay, this is how lame these guys are. His one very controversial tweet about, controversial, that's not the right word, it's an asshole move tweet to say that Sports Illustrated model was not beautiful, which, whatever, she is, and then to reference back to that with that lame-ass smiley face, because
oh my god,
he thinks that makes him look
it's the same
cool.
smiley face
like...
he put on the pedophile one, or the child pornography tweet that he made. But
I just feel like he's such a lame
eighth
grade loser. Like he's so fucking lame
he's a fucking
and not
roller
funny.
Backpack dork. And
that's exactly
it's like,
what
he
he
at
is.
least used to have the smarts to back it up before, but he
No.
unfortunately for
He has a
him, like, you feel
vocabulary.
bad. But he had some smarts that are like, those smarts that he had are gone. He melted his brain with benzos. Like, he really had
that's
to
true.
have. I don't think it's just capitalism that warped him this much, because honestly, the money and going down the right-wing road, I think, just leads you to ignorance,
Sure.
because you have to stay in that lane. And just, as long as you have the money to support you, you can be semi not brain melted. But the combination of being a conservative and leaning towards fascist rhetoric in the first place, and then getting money for it, and then seriously combining it with like life-threatening drug addiction and whatever he went through, like it's bad.
But also,
like
you have to remember that he's a roller backpack dork,
yeah.
and he's now found a community of kind of like what he would think are like cool guys thinking he's cool for saying rude shit like that. So that in and of itself is a drug for a dork like Jordan Peterson.
Oh,
legit.
yeah, true.
But also that does make me kind of feel bad about his drug addiction, because it is sad that he probably did do some, like he almost died, right? Like he was like very, like had a real problem.
I think it really like warped his mind. It had to have. Like, he's just so much worse nowadays.
And if it doesn't, then why aren't we all just doing benzos all the time?
Yeah.
Have
exactly.
any lasting
it's
damage.
like, man, because when you're on them, they're fucking great. But yeah, I didn't want to get into that. You see, you said that. Now I have Twitter open. I don't want to do that. But... yeah, let's see. Because I was just... Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, I did just have one thought, because I was watching an old Cody's Shody, some more news about
thoughts.
Yeah. No, you don't, you dork. Like
no, they're all written down in here.
TS? Oh, yeah.
I have two thoughts with that spelling. But...
that I was watching the one about austerity politics and blah, blah, blah in America,
and it was me
like...
looking in the mirror. Okay, anyway.
Yeah,
austerity politics. Yeah.
And it was Mitt Romney at, that video of him talking at a big dinner there, that he's like...
a dig
that
dinner.
People think... Yeah, people think that they're entitled to food and to shelter, and the government has to... that was what he's talking about. He said food in particular, which is very jarring to hear that you think that people aren't entitled to food, but...
because of food stamps,
Yeah, and it's also... But it's interesting, it's like, okay, so... handout and government, blah, blah, blah. So what does the government owe people? And the answer for them is just big fucking guns. That's what the government owes you, because they have absolutely zero problem thinking and saying that the government's job is defense. Like that we are owed that
Quote,
is, and
unquote.
that, yeah, exactly. It's a stupid caveman patriarchal perspective on what it takes to like protect or defend a society. And I was just thinking about that and how incredibly small-minded and expensive and not helpful that line of thinking is, rather than obviously investing in maybe like food, shelter, let's see, education and other needs for society, and saying that that's entitled to think that you deserve that, rather than just planes flying around you and bombing children in a country that you don't even know where it is on a map. Like, that's what the government, that's what you deserve from the government.
Which is the case with many Americans.
Such as the South Africa and such as Iraq.
Well, there's those street interviews you see where people literally don't know what the Holocaust was. It's pretty sick. But
it's sick.
But you know what? Yeah, you're right. I mean, even taking that side, saying that yes, I mean that's a fundamental function of our government is to protect and defend its citizenry that are paying taxes for this. Even if they were doing it correctly, not invading other countries, but having a military for defense, it's like, yeah, but it's still expensive because of capitalism, because of it's just so obvious. It's so disgusting. Like the Lockheed Martin and Raytheon and all of these what's that? It's like Honeywell, the company where you can buy like an air purifier from them and stuff like that. They make like fucking drones and shit. Like have huge multi-billion-dollar contracts with the Department of Defense. It's like all these things are so goddamn expensive. It's like, yeah, because you get these. I mean, you can go into all the actual economic implications of it, but we all know the only reason it's so expensive and so bloated is because of the profit motive and how these private companies can just bend our government over and say, this is what you're fucking paying for. All right. Yeah. An F-35 cost $8 billion to make one that'll blow up at the end of the runway. It's like, and you'll fucking like it.
Yeah.
And like,
or isn't it this like the second year in the row where the Pentagon hasn't been able to account for like $2 trillion or some shit like that? Like an insane amount of money that they're like, I don't know.
I haven't even heard that. I would just accept it as fact. I'm sure it's like the 80th year in a row where they have unaccounted for money.
Well, it was the second year in the row where there's been articles about it. So
okay, where someone's actually saying something about it.
Like,
well, even on Twitter, it was great. It is great seeing things like following.
It's great.
Oh, I forget.
It's
I
great
think
to
it
be
was.
fine.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's great to be fine. But Rashida Tlaib, I think, voted no on the defense budget.
That's because she hates troops. She
hates America.
Because look at her name. Rashida Tlaib.
Yeah.
I think Bernie said it best.
Is she related to Rashida Jones?
Yeah.
Yeah. That would make sense, right?
They're criminals and rapists.
Yeah. Yeah, well, Bernie understood from the beginning.
We hate all the Muslims because all of the Muslims are terrorists. We gotta hate the Muslims.
Yeah, exactly.
Wise words.
That's, you know what, yeah.
This is propaganda.
That's another good new one.
Yeah.
But,
is that Tucker?
But yeah, I mean, I look at these defense budgets, and all I can say is,
oh, how I wish I could believe or understand that.
Yes,
yay!
That's a good one. Excellent, my man.
Yeah, exactly. I'm looking at the soundboard like
this is absolutely lit. This is lit.
That is the worst part of that Kanye interview. That.
Oh yeah,
right
of course. All the Hitler stuff was fine.
That's not as cringe.
That Doug guy? Wow, what a piece of shit.
Yeah, Curtis Connor. After he heard me say
the N-word,
he just said
that Doug guy. Wow, what a piece of shit.
Yeah, I mean, understandable.
Yeah, he's got a good head on his shoulders. So,
but yeah, that's way off track from your original thoughts. But the N-word is
it,
no,
though?
but
we're talking about America.
But
so
that's even even accepting that premise that it is one of the major functions of government. There's so many fucking problems with it. How we do it now. It's like, so what are you saying? Like, what, we just blindly just accept that, it's it needs to be a guarantee to all citizens that they're protected, by their government and their military. I mean, you can be, a pacifist and an anti-imperialist and all that stuff while still recognizing that it's like, I mean, without proper support, like, shit does happen. I mean,
sure.
The Ukraine was invaded and is still at war with Russia right now. Like, shit happens.
But it's also like, what are you protecting?
It's just usually we're the aggressors.
Yes.
But
that's where all that money goes.
Yeah.
Aggress.
So it's like to aggress upon others.
Exactly. But it's like you're protecting your society, but it's like, but what are you protecting? A society with all of this inequality and people dying in the streets and getting murdered by police and women dying in childbirth, black women having all this kind of stuff. It's like, so what are we protected from?
Yeah, it's like
children in the Middle East,
with this absolutely gigantic budget that we go through and stuff like that. As soon as we pull out of Afghanistan or something, all this money, it's like, so why don't I see the Army Corps of Engineers just what is it?
Yeah.
This is not military budget. And what is it? But Yeah, it's like, why don't I see the Army Corps of Engineers literally just like building roads right now outside my house?
Yeah, we got all these
like why are they not
bridges falling
updating
apart?
like dams and bridges
Yeah.
and stuff? Like that was a huge part. I don't know how that works. I'm not a politician, but if it's the Army, like because they, if I'm not mistaken, here where we live, like Grand Coulee Dam, that's a huge federal government
it's a
project.
Corps of Engineers.
Yeah, and it's like something to marvel at. Like it's amazing.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, in the Army Corps of Engineers, I mean, you know, you just kind of brush aside the probably a couple dozen of immigrant laborers that are probably in the concrete of that dam to this day. But
you gotta do a lot of brushing aside in America.
But it's
so.
like, yeah, these projects can be done. We can have like a military that that, you know, can stand for defense and not aggress. But I digress.
As they are
you know?
wont to do.
Yeah. You know, that can stand for defense and, you know, but be like it. Ongoing projects, you know,
like the Peace
part
Corps?
of the problem is the fact that the military is the only option for people in the working class and the working poor to have any sort of social mobility upwards. That's always been an ongoing thing. And it used to be like, that used to not be such a dark realization. It used to be, yeah, you could go join the Army or the Navy or something, and it's not upward mobility just because there's nowhere else to go, but because it's a well-funded, ongoing government project where you learn things and you meet people and you network and you learn really important skills and this and that. But
and you
now
have a
it's
good
just
government job where
it's
you
just
get healthcare.
disgusting.
Yeah,
and now it's just like, well, I guess because they have nowhere else to go, so we could just let them get PTSD. Half their money has probably disappeared somewhere. The VA sucks dick, and it's all, and it's and everyone else who doesn't have that has it even worse off, probably.
and they get PTSD to do what? In defense of what? Like to do like they're going and
Let
that's
alone
and
if
that's like
you're-
what it's all
Ugh.
for. At least like some of these things like World War II, the Civil War, some things that were actually sort of principled a little bit, like where there was like a legitimate threat of. But I mean, depending on the war, you know, like where you're actually fighting for something very real for people, like a way of life and a standard for society, like culture, like globally on this huge scale, rather than just. I mean, it's like a joke now about us going to Iraq, like under false pretenses, and it's really gross because a lot of people like died. I mean, like and people got PTSD. From that, for all of these things
Vietnam.
that were just what is it?
Oh my god!
Thanks a lot, capitalism. Yeah, and that is what it is. Vietnam. I don't know.
Thanks
even
a lot,
know
Puritans.
what that's all about. Yeah. Thanks a lot for capitalism, Puritans.
Suck me from the back.
Whatever.
But yeah. Anyway, I just don't know enough about the military.
Anyways,
and
I
stuff.
totally
just know
agree
that
with
it's
Mitt Romney.
Stupid. Yeah,
People are
but
entitled
all
and
of this
should have to earn their food.
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah, anyone who thinks that they need any sort of government assistance to get food on the table for their children.
Seems pretty satanic.
Yeah, and anyone that gets welfare at all, Bernie says
They're criminals and rapists.
no. But geez, I need to turn off my notifications here. This is driving me crazy. But so let me open up my phone here. I agree with you. It's great to be fine.
Yeah, can you turn the music down, Dimitri?
What? Oh, that's so much better. Thank you, Dimitri. I don't know. Geez, I'm just gonna keep playing with the soundboard here. I wanted to surprise you at some point when we're talking about Hassan.
Suck me from the back.
Hassan sucked me from the back piker. Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, actually, I was thinking, is it Hassan or is it Hassan?
It's Hassan.
Okay. Good. Because that's what
Hassan has two S's. I'm totally bullshitting.
I don't
no,
know,
I've
'cause-
heard him say it as Hassan, I think.
Yeah, I know that
But
that other guy is Hassan.
Hassan Minaj.
Yeah.
Yeah, he says Hassan.
But I guess they're different nationalities. So
Yeah, exactly.
Am I
Isn't he
racist?
Pakistani? I think.
That
Well, it's the
is
same name.
correct.
So,
Yeah.
and of course, Hassan's from like Siberia or something. I don't
Some-
know. No, of course, he's
isn't
from
he white?
Turkey.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is white.
Yeah.
But yeah. And then when you finally meet him, you'll just make him go,
Oh, oh.
Oh my god! Oh my god! You know what I've been telling my friends is that they need to help me with these these delusions I have of like
parasocial delusions of grandeur.
Yes, where I'm like, Hassan would totally be lucky to have me. I said that today. So
I need help.
but he's so adorable that, you know,
Anyone
I
would be
just-
lucky to have you, Natalie.
Thank
So there you go.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah.
One thing, let's see, let's just read something so I can delete it out of here. The cringe, I thought the other day, and I couldn't figure out exactly how to explain it, but of course, being back on Twitter, I see stuff like this, and you know exactly what it is. The purity leftist crap, you know, there's always something to call someone out for.
Gatekeepers.
It's really annoying, yeah. And it's like the cringe leftist or libtard, especially one-upsmanship online in this back and forth is kind of like if you just publicly were going around correcting people's grammar for no reason. And it's like if you just take that like and just apply it to political views.
Yes.
and
politics.
it's like where it's like what was the purpose of that? Like it's
I think
that's where I'm trying to get it, where it's like, if you're just someone you don't know and you're just like, you said that wrong, you know, if you're like correcting someone's grammar, where it's like, it didn't teach anyone anything and there was no purpose to it, when you do like that, instead of when someone's like, hey, how do you say this? And you tell them.
yeah, or if
It's like,
someone
so
you
what
know.
what was the point of it other than you blurting something out to put someone else down and put yourself up? That's what like virtue signaling liberal crap and leftist too, for sure. So we were complaining before the show where I'm talking about what people put in their bios and stuff, where it's just like, didn't we learn about like what actual like cringe virtue signaling does? Like it's just,
But I think
it's like you're going out of your way to other people.
to other people, you're going out of your way to
Oh yeah,
other people. No. No,
I'm
kidding.
going
No.
out of my way to you.
Yeah.
No.
I think that there is an intersection, though, because all of these, okay, let's say all these liberals, we're all neurodivergent, so let's cut us a little slack. But also,
I'm not.
it's virtue signaling comes from, I really think, that what I was saying, white guilt, a lot of times, is that
yes,
these people, like,
that's
that they
what we
don't
were saying
really,
before the show. That's right.
that yeah, they do, people do feel bad because they are leftist or liberal, whatever they are, you know, like they want to be doing the right thing, but there are dumb people on both sides and they don't really know how to apply it in a way that's like constructive or like has some depth to it, but they do have this sense of, they do feel bad. They're like defensive about being white because it's shitty to be that way, to know that you have this privilege that you didn't earn, that you have no way of getting rid of because you live in this society. So you want to make it known.
Privilege is
and
like
it's like
the best thing ever. No,
I know that's what
You're crazy.
Louis C.K. says. He's
Yeah,
like,
that's right.
I'm not saying white people are better, but being white is obviously better.
obviously better. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
empirically better. Okay,
yeah,
but yeah,
not because, but
having yeah
No.
no I and tying it into that, yeah, but it's kind of that you're not turning inward to do this, like you're just
Because there are dumb
when you
people.
engage in these back and forth. I wish I just had something right off the bat to pull up or something, but we all know what I'm talking about. It's within leftist circles or between leftists and liberals especially, and just stupid like rad femme white women. But yeah, and like you said, lots of times well, you're too much of a leftist to be one of those rad femmes, but
I'm an actual progressive.
Yeah, okay, purity test much?
Yes.
But, yes, quite much, very much.
Quite
Quite
you.
muchly.
Thank you for
no,
noticing.
But, yeah, it's just like, I was just trying to make that connection between, like, that, my words are bad. What motivates you to make sure to call these things out, other than
White guilt.
Yeah, that, and there's like narcissistic
Arrogance.
tendencies to that, where, having the white guilt, it depends on what you do with it, all right? And performative crap like that doesn't help. Like, what doesn't help only hurts us, okay? In terms of the entire online left, all right? And I always try to differentiate, and I'm almost always talking about the online left with this. I mean, it doesn't represent everything, but you know what? It is
People spend a lot of
a big
time
part of
online.
it, because a lot of people, there just aren't many leftists out there actually doing things, right? I mean, I'm not out there organizing.
Oh, hey, wait.
You do.
I am
What?
actually. I just got a job that I'm going to be out fundraising for Amnesty International for abortion access and stuff.
Cool.
So when I said I'm a real progressive, yeah,
No,
I'm
I
gonna
know.
rub that in
That's
all
what I'm
these
saying.
liberals' face. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
yeah,
But I did get
exactly.
that
Where it's
job,
just
yeah.
like you rub it in there. Yeah, what have you done? It's like, see, that wouldn't help, right?
I would never do that,
and that's
yeah.
why you wouldn't do that. Yeah, but people
Yeah.
do, and that's the issue. And anyway, I just wanted to kind of get through that one because I had it written down. I have a lot of stuff on here.
I think that
what
is-
what have you got?
Well, no, I don't have anything
What have
besides
you
what
got?
I got a jobby, Daddy.
A new job? Yeah, no, that's awesome. It's
Yeah.
better than anything I wrote down.
I think that it is interesting though what that's what people I've had this conversation with someone before that she was like, I just feel like liberals or leftists or whatever, I forget what she said. She's like, they're just like condescending assholes.
Yeah.
Like
Uh-huh.
that you make you feel so stupid for not knowing, and that's the thing that I always come back to, and I'm like, how can they be like this when they're the ones who are supposed to understand the systems that got us here? So how can they not understand that there are people that were affected by these systems that fucking got us
Yes.
here? Why are you so
Yes.
condescending about this thing that you're supposed to know about? Like, do you not understand what you're talking about?
Believer, understand now.
No, exactly,
Bender gets it.
exactly.
This is absolutely lit.
You are. No, but and yeah, that's the thing. It's like, you know what? We get
know
to yeah. You know what?
These people are sick.
But the so-called tolerant left,
If it so can be called.
we get to shrug that off when the right-wingers get upset that Antifa will punch a Nazi or something. Oh, the so-called tolerant left. It's like, not even going into the paradox of intolerance, or paradox of tolerance, right? Whatever it
The
is.
tolerance paradox, I think.
Yeah, that's the name of my sci-fi book.
Ooh, intriguing.
But
This is propaganda.
yeah, Tucker read it, the whole thing, and he was like,
This is propaganda.
it's just full of,
The N-word.
but it's written like 500 times. But no, but that is something that we can shrug off and not worry about. We don't have to tolerate fascists and stuff. But you know what? We need to have that. We need to be the tolerant left when it comes to people on the left. Like, we need to be
Anything left of
tolerant
Nazi.
each other.
Yeah.
Like, yes, I mean, anything, and you need to be more tolerant of liberals. It's pretty tough, but it's different than, people who are set in their ways, people who are agitating towards fascism, or people who are right-wing propagandists, or people that are so far gone where it's just like the only worthwhile thing is making fun of your stupid ass. Like, that's different. But yeah, people shouldn't be feel like they're being condescended toward to, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to end a sentence with a preposition.
So what I was thinking was these liberals that have this kind of stuff in their bios and whatever, these kind of people that we're talking about, they're like right-wing
progressives.
Yeah, MAGA people who make it so much of their personality. I find myself to be so incredibly progressive. I talk about human rights, or people call it politics. I call it human rights. I talk about it a lot. I'm very passionate about it, but it's not my entire personality. I talk about music. I like watch TV shows. I have friends and stuff. I do things that are outside of just being a liberal correcting people for their every single time. I don't always correct every single person every time they say something, because you know what I did learn from that right-wing propaganda book, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie, is that it does have some really good insight into interactions with people and correcting people in front of other people, especially. You will not get your point across if you're going to if you're making people feel stupid in these ways. And there are ways to, I think that there's you can have tact where you can kind of skirt around the point and let them come to a conclusion on their own. But to directly contradict someone, it just doesn't serve a purpose, and they probably won't really remember necessarily what you're correcting them for. They'll only remember the shame, the correction, and the embarrassment, that comes from it. That in such like a not, and those liberals are just not just like, because I don't think they're the same as people who think that gay people shouldn't exist, but when they're not coming to these things in good faith, they're just coming to push their own agenda, which, while I could say objectively it's a better worldview, what they're trying to, gay rights and all that kind of crap, but it's
well, here you go.
I forgot.
Here you go. So
there
that's the key right there, is what you're saying is recognizing who is here in good faith and who is not. Okay, that's the difference. Don't be judging people based on what their individual views are on certain things, because those can change. And then that will return to what you're saying in terms of pragmatic tact and things like that, whatever it might be. There's so many different situations and different things that can happen to make people change their minds and stuff. But instead of there's this how bad my thesaurus is. There's this
it's bad
starting point that we can be at here, that instead of approaching people based on that idea, whether they're there in good faith or they're there in bad faith, instead you're only looking at their individual views and picking out what's wrong with it, because it comes back to that self-indulgent, narcissistic, already defensive position that you're putting yourself in. You're only thinking about yourself. That's why. So if you're not, if you're actually being open-minded
about everything,
sure, and you might be. You know what? That's
not
the thing.
About everything.
Well, I mean, but you could be right about most anything. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're right or not. I'm saying what we need to practice is judging people. But no, is judging whether someone is discussing and trying to learn from good faith or not. That's the number one thing. And if they are, no matter how shitty some of their opinions can be, no matter how misinformed they have been, you need to be tolerant and be pragmatic and be educational. Or, you know what? If it's bugging you how bad their opinions are, but they are there in good faith, then fuck off and don't talk to them, because someone else can help them, okay? That's a big thing. because otherwise,
It's very cringe when you do that.
so.
And I mean, I
But
understand
yeah,
the
that's I
desire
like that
to
key
like.
from you is good faith or not.
That's what it comes down to, because otherwise people are just wanting to be so much of, like I'm saying, all this white guilt and like things. They want to lash out at people. They want to be an ally. They want to just be aggressive because it's kind of fun to be that way too.
Sure.
Also, it can be kind of addicting to be an asshole like online to
Oh,
people
I would
who
have
seem
no idea what that's
ignorant
like.
and stuff. Yeah, but it's not.
I don't
it's
use
like,
Twitter.
That's one. It's like yeah, it can be sort of cathartic for and you don't owe it to other people to make them comfortable. Like, but if you
Yeah.
actually are there to try to make a difference, you have to be there in good faith. And again, as someone like on the left who's supposed to understand white supremacy
Yeah.
as a culture and all of this really needs to come from that place of understanding and compassion and
That
listening and
systems
good
have molded
faith to
these
try.
people. Yeah.
Absolutely, that they're products of their environment, and people can be willfully ignorant, but that's just because they haven't had. Well, I could tell. This is what I'll say: you can't plant a seed like these leftists are trying to do. That's not going to get anywhere. Like when you're just attacking people and being like, you're a racist, you're as bad as Hitler. If Hassan, like
Yeah,
they're
because you bought
like
a house.
straight up saying that to. Yeah, you drive a nice car. Well, you're Hitler, so you hate Jewish people. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
like you're not planting any sort of seeds of like for someone to actually think about something. You're not making a good point. You're not seeming compassionate, and you don't seem like someone that I'd want to even align myself with at all. It's not welcoming that way. It's like, why would I
Yeah.
want to join this group where everyone is like, you have to be like exactly like this. You have to know everything, or you cannot be a part of this group. You have to be perfect. How will that bring anyone to you?
Yeah, we need
'Cause
to
that's
make
impossible.
sure
Because-
that. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, and it's impossible because every one of these fucking leftists has a different idea of what's perfect. So
Yeah,
it's
like
a pretty
Zach had
impossible
said
standard
before.
to.
Yeah, like with anarchists, and that's just one small part of leftism.
Yes.
Well, actually, a major part of leftism, these making the welcoming part. We need the shallow stuff and the shallow reasons to. We need to be on top of that. We as in all of us, okay? I'm just white
The
man
collective we.
splaining all this crap, but still,
What else
like,
is new?
that's why so many, that's why the left is so, queer, that's why the left is so, young, things like that, because there are certain just surface level, shallow things. Of course, there's systemic and, academic underpinnings to all of this. But I mean, on a surface level, it is welcoming to people. It is fun. We are the open-minded,
Where all the, where all
burping
the
into the microphone,
artists are, all of the musicians, all of the
drugs,
actors, all of the
partying,
yes.
love, all of that, free
Sex,
love,
yeah.
and whatnot.
Having a
But,
great time over here.
But that is really, I mean, like I said, there is important actual underlying reasons for that, but that's just more of like a symptom of what the left stands for, and that needs to be that when it can be called out and misconstrued into groomers or socialism is when no car or whatever, like when you can
heard that
take
somewhere.
these shallow views, these really shallow is not the right word, but yeah, I
Basic?
got this really bad thesaurus, and it was really bad.
Wait,
But-
I just had a joke
Go
really
ahead.
quick I want to say before I forget, because you said
This
symptom.
is politics.
And I was thinking, how they call, like, people call men kings, like, oh, he's a king or whatever. like a kingdom, and then I was thinking a symptom, like what a simp would have instead of a king.
Oh my gosh, you know what's so funny? So I was talking to my lady friend, and I was just being nice.
Ew.
Yeah, exactly, but she just isn't used to that, unfortunately. She's a beautiful soul and a
Probably
beautiful
been in a
woman.
bunch of abusive relationships.
I've learned things about. I don't want to just air out her stuff on a podcast, even though no one listens. But
it will be like
really
so many
interesting.
other women's experiences.
Very
It's
interesting.
really sad.
She was engaged to be married before graduating high school, type of thing. Yeah, yada yada yada. She just has not, like many women, has not been given the respect and love that she deserves. But anyway, so me just being a nice guy or whatever, it's just
An
like,
enlightened
oh my
man.
God, you're so, it's like, yeah, like why wouldn't I be? Like what the fuck? But then she had said it was just some flirty back and forth, and I just made a joke like, oh yeah, I'd do that. I'd do anything, you know, if you're wearing that kind of thing. It's just some joke, you know? And she she said something. She's like, so what? Like you're a simp, and it's funny because I just assume she knows all this stuff. She has an OnlyFans, you know, and I was like, well, for you, yes, just for you, you know. And she was like, oh, and she seemed kind of confused, and then messaged right back and said, oh God, yeah, I just looked up what that actually means in Urban Dictionary. That's not a good thing. I was like, no, it is not. You didn't know that?
Simp.
She's like, you're not a simp. I was like, yeah, I thought we were just joking around. It's terrible. Those are the weirdos on the internet that are probably messaging you all the time.
I've been saying that about men in my life, that they're really there's a lot of simps out there if you're a beautiful woman.
Yeah, where they're
Simps.
just the sexual dynamics make them so that they're not their own person. You know? Oh
Yes.
man,
It's
it's just
sad for them.
Yeah, because the internet enables that for sure. Well, let's change gears here. I thought that one.
I've been working on impression.
Yeah.
I killed it.
Oh, hey, how's the weather over there?
Yeah, I was thinking that it's been cold and.
Oh, okay. Nice.
And I've been sick.
Oh, God. Come on.
All over my microphone.
I hope you get ass cancer and die, you son of a bitch. I'll cut your throat. I'll come to your house and kill your children.
But yeah, every time you sneeze, you're just like,
Thanks a lot, Puritans.
People have to flush their toilet 15 times.
yeah, to all the simps.
Sounds like you're pretty into this play.
Nice.
So it's just cold over there. Cold and rainy, probably?
No, not rainy. It's just been gray. It rained and like all of our snow is gone now, but it's just been wintry, kind of Pacific Northwest cold.
You
know,
it has
overcast.
been icy, and of course it snowed a bit here. And then I was looking at, I don't know if I sent this to you guys, but I'm looking at the 10-day forecast as it's getting colder and colder and colder, including a low of 9 degrees next week.
Oof.
And a day of snow showers with a high of 27 and a low of 10. Snow showers and a high of 15. Like, what? That's like the Arctic Circle. Like, how does it snow when it's that cold? That's
really
not cool.
cold. Also, you want to feel even worse is
My
that
poor
some
doggies. They have
people
to
live
stay inside all
outside.
day. Yeah,
Oh,
well,
see,
fuck
that's
those people. They're homeless bitches. No.
Yeah. You think it's hard to get a kid
the
off the
so-called
streets?
tolerant left.
Yeah.
Yeah, try getting your kid deprogrammed from Mount Holyoke, huh?
Yeah.
Am I
exactly.
right?
You get it? You get it, folks? Oh, you don't because you're.
Yeah. Oh, you don't
you're-
because you didn't listen to episode 20?
I was gonna
Did
say-
you know that Alexander Hamilton was the founder of the New York Post? That's what I tweeted with our link to that episode.
Was he?
Yes.
What
Yep.
a
Doesn't
sad-
that suck?
Thanks a lot, Puritans.
Yeah. After all that, I'm sure if Alexander Hamilton saw the New York Post today, he'd just be like,
Suck my dick, idiot.
but
No, he'd probably say the N-word.
he's like, what's this guy in charge of you say it's media marketing? But he's just the N-word. But yeah.
That is my own sperm.
Oh, that's not ours.
Stop.
Yeah. Okay, sorry, Hassan. But also that clip of Hassan,
Okay. Oh,
you could
yeah,
send that
so
to
anyway.
me. That one where he's moaning, sort of, or whatever he's doing.
Oh.
You know, I just want to.
Oh!
There it is.
Yeah, it's from the leftovers. As soon as I heard it, I was
boy.
like, ooh, I'm marking this thing because they were looking at pictures of baby hippos. And he's
Oh
so
my
into
gosh.
it. He's like, they're
I
so
know.
cute.
I was like, he
Yeah.
loves baby hippos. He's so adorable. He's like, I feel like I could chill with. Oh, that's when he was like, I feel like I could chill with a bear. That's a delusion I
Yes,
have.
yeah.
is that I
that's-
think that
they're
I
like,
could
that
chill
is
with
delusion.
a
He's
bear.
like, I know. I'm just saying. I just feel like that.
See,
Facts
I
don't
knew
care
we had
about your
something in
feelings,
common.
Hassan.
I was playing
You're
with
like,
Marcel,
I hang out with
my
hairy
cat.
gay guys all the time. No.
I was playing with Marcel, my cat. And he's an acro cat. You know, he's like running around and he
Yeah.
plays fetch and stuff.
He has a very
he brought
acrid
his toy back to me.
smell to him.
Yes, he's a smoking pile of garbage. But he,
As cats
he brought-
are want
as cats
to
are.
be. Okay.
be or not to be, but I was gonna say flee or not to flee because
That is the
cats.
cat's gin.
Actually, he doesn't have. I hate that. But anyways, I was playing with him.
Sorry, I was a little late on the draw there.
Late on the drop.
And
He
scene.
brought his toy back to me, and I was petting him, and
What's
I
a
was
toy
like,
back to me?
I could totally. You don't know what a toy back to me is? Like when you have a
He brought
toy
his
stuck
toy
in
back
your
to me.
rectum, and you have to have it surgically removed.
Yeah, and it has back
Mhm.
knee, but
Yes, and I said I could totally tame a lion. Is what I was thinking while I was petting my cat.
you're petting the cat, and you're just like,
Yeah. Yeah. So I think Hassan and I have some of the same delusions. I could chill with a bear. I could totally tame a lion.
Drugs are fun.
You know what? I introduced our
lion.
sister to some drugs, and you know what she said today when she was getting her tattoo? That she was talking
Drugs
about talking to
are
the tattoo
fun.
artist. Yes.
that's
That's
what she
exactly
said.
what she said. And I thought, yeah, she was like, how awesome drugs are, because she had never done. We did
Mushrooms.
you ever heard of this drug, Molly? Yeah.
Oh,
and
yeah.
mushrooms,
I thought you were
yeah.
actually
And
going to bring up
M-
some
M-
drug
M-
of like, you do like 2CI or something?
No. And M&M night is the best kind of night you can have. You don't drink, you know, because I don't drink, and she didn't drink like the whole time she was here. And she had a great fucking time with just mushrooms, for one thing, are a really, really fun. They're just really fun. Like so lighthearted. And then Molly is the love drug. So if you combine these two in, you know, reasonable amounts, you can have like a very genuinely, like such a good time. Like when good is like the feeling of goodness and like what wholesome and like happiness and all of those things really truly feel, and you feel it afterwards. She was like, it was like a
Just how
life-changing
amazing
experience for me.
people are, and how amazing people
People
can be,
are, and how
and
amazing
loving
it
the
is
people around
not
you.
to drink.
Oh.
Yes, and
Okay,
genuinely
Natalie.
being like, wow, this is that anti-alcohol propaganda that I spread all over the place.
This is
You know,
propaganda.
but I'm like, you know, exactly. I've never thrown up from any other drug, so that's the start.
I don't know. I
Alcohol's the
swallowed
only
some
one.
chew once but that's because I was really drunk, and I definitely threw up.
Oh.
No,
Well, that's
and that's
different.
nicotine.
Yeah.
I swallowed tobacco.
Yeah, that's a big old hunk of chewing tobacco. Even putting that in your mouth will make some people, it'll give you such a head high. But alcohol, I mean, people at weddings, at their own weddings, are like, bleh, I can't remember.
Exactly. Oh,
You know?
man. My wedding. Holy
just-
cow. But,
Anyways, drugs
Oh, how I wish
are
I
fun.
could believe or understand that.
But, let's see. Which one should I go with here? Millions of people go through the unnatural process of undergoing a type of hormone therapy every day, and no one bats an eye. And you know what that is? Taking insulin
No.
to treat their diabetes. That's hormone therapy.
You know,
Check
I've thought about
mate.
that. Along that sort of line is like, how come, you know, all these guys on the right, we could actually have some common ground here where my feelings about plastic surgery and what a waste of resources it is and how it contributes to these unrealistic beauty standards and people not really actually being happy
Hope
with
you
who
guys
they are
all see
because
what
they're just
a
like being
terrible
blah, blah,
waste of resources this was. Sorry, I just watched Christmas Vacation the
Yeah.
other night.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That
But yes.
all of that kind of stuff. How come they've never been talking about all these boob jobs and nose jobs and stuff in a way that's like these are undergoing surgery to
Well.
change their bodies? They're not trans, but they're changing their bodies. You know, like in a way that's.
It's
I mean,
gender
does that bother
affirming
them?
surgery.
Or because it's within gender?
It's gender affirming
Well,
surgery.
I mean-
That's one. That's some
Isn't that
rhetoric
what women are doing with fake breasts?
Yes, or what men
Like,
are doing
yeah.
with hair plugs.
Yeah.
Or even like presenting yourself, making sure to present yourself as your gender as a man by like growing a beard, wearing neckties.
Oh, I want to
know.
make this clear for all these liberals and stuff that are listening to this is that I was in no
The
way saying
thousands
that
of them.
gender affirming surgery for trans people is a problem and that's something that is making people
Yeah.
unhappy. I'm
You're like,
saying
I don't like
what I
it.
think about
I
plastic
don't-
surgery. No. I'm
It's
saying
not
plastic
this-
surgery as a vanity thing, like Kim Kardashian, sort of like things that people do because of these unrealistic beauty standards within their own gender, and they do it because they have too much money and all this kinds of. Oh, it's like a whole other
Yeah.
topic. I'm saying this is healthcare for trans people. And that's what I think people undergoing surgery should be getting healthcare, you know, because that's what these doctors, like places in operating rooms and like all these actual resources that can be going to people's health care, I think is a lot more important than, you know, we have a lot of plastic surgery stuff that goes on. But
Yeah, and the
I
numbers
just want to make
back
that
it
qualifier
up,
that I
like-
think that trans people should be able to get healthcare.
Yeah, the
And
numbers back it
gender-affirming
up
care.
that gender affirming surgeries and hormone therapies are all, you know, by the numbers, they're some of the least regretted medical undertakings that people get. But even besides that, I would take the opposite thing and be like, I mean, that's where we could agree overall, where it's like, hey, you let people do what they want to make themselves feel better, you know. It's
Yeah,
just
it's called
like
therapy.
yeah, and I mean, and it's like whether that's you know, someone getting their Brazilian butt lift and some lip fillers because they think they look great, and if they don't regret it, so be it. And it would be
Sure.
times 100 for someone to have gender affirming
Times infinite.
surgery.
There's-
Yeah, well,
it's
I
not
mean,
a
just saying,
comparison.
like, you know, it's like, fine, look at it that way in terms of personal liberty. And it's like, then the argument that you're having with these transphobes or right wingers, if you're going to be on the same page in terms of people's personal liberty and doing what they want with their life, which usually it's just bad faith anyway. But if you're on the same page with them about that, then the argument really is about them not wanting to be forced to be included in your delusion or something. I can't be forced to accept that you're a woman or a man or whatever it is. It's like, well, you know what? When it comes down to it, no one's forcing you to do that. That's what they don't get. Is just that, like, these changes around them that they view as oppression, it's so fucking weak. Like, it's just so stupid. That's why it always, their only way through it is through the what about the kids rhetoric that is never really true. They don't care about children. That's this is all, I mean, it's so important right now. And it's the number one thing that drives me crazy when I'm on Twitter and stuff, is because, like, as someone who doesn't, I don't even have enough skin in the game, like, literally in my world, to make a difference, but I just really support and want to make sure that people support the ongoing gender issues and how much more open we need to be, let alone like just not being transphobic and stuff like that. And it's just coming back to the same arguments and the same fascistic garbage on the right. People like Matt Walsh, like I would be deplatformed from anywhere if I could just have 10 minutes in a closed room with that fucking guy, like, and make the world a better place for all of us, you know?
I agree.
Like, it's just, I don't even know where to start.
He cares about children.
I don't even know where to start with. Yeah, he
having
cares about
sex with them.
fertility. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Fucking stupid piece of shit. I hate him
Pedophile.
so
I hate him
much.
too. He's always been my least favorite. That's whatever you want to say. Like, my most hated of all of them. He's talking about smug and, smug and condescending.
I didn't think anyone could beat Tucker, but he is just
by a
bad.
Mile.
Like,
he is
it's
so unlikable.
Gross.
I hate him. If I was ever in the same, he seems like a guy that if he's like at a party, you know, that you would just, everyone would just be like, that fucking guy. He's
an
so
actual vampire
boring and annoying.
Like how people can say like people are like vampires. Like, it would be a drain being around him. Like he would just, I'm not one into like energies and auras and energy vampire or something, you know, but there's something to be said about people like that. There are people like that. And like, I'm just sure that he is one of those people where you just feel they're just so negative. Like, it's just, well, it's hate.
And because he's so stupid.
Hate. He's hateful.
Yeah.
You know, it's
he's
like
a hateful, cruel person.
Yeah.
And
like, you could say things like that about Tucker or Ben Shapiro or Dennis Prager or something like that, you know, but there's more to it than just pure hatred. Like, he's like a fucking Sith Lord, Matt Walsh. Like, he gives me the fucking creeps. Because he's a
very creepy guy. He is like, that's what I mean. Like, at a party or something, you wouldn't want to like be around him. You'd be like, ugh, this guy. Like, if I can imagine being around him and him really grossing me the fuck out. Like, I can just imagine the way he would look at a woman, like how he would make me feel if he looked at me. I would really, even if I didn't know anything about his politics and stuff.
Yeah.
Ugh.
For all of his family
like
values and
loser.
whatever he says he's about, it's like, legitimately, like, I wouldn't want my daughter to spend time around you, man. Like, It just doesn't seem right. I don't know what's going to happen with his kids. I don't know.
Ugh.
It just... it's just...
These people are sick.
And I mean that, like, not even as a joke.
People have to flush their toilet 15 times.
But that's a joke. So.
No, but because mental illness is when you're right wing.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
There we go. So we can't blame him, Doug. We have to be compassionate leftists and say, "Come on, Matt Walsh, get over here, you pedophile."
No. See, exactly. There's one of the people where it's like, we don't have to tolerate that. He's never. It's like, he's not here in bad faith. He's never anywhere in good faith. He is an unfaithful specimen.
He's a faithless, honorless,
That's because you're an honorless,
turd.
lying little turd.
Exactly. That is Matt Walsh.
Sounds like you're pretty into this, Mike.
But okay, yeah. See, I just think that's a good little thing. Yeah, you know, people go through hormone therapy. all the time. Because well, I just put unnatural in quotes because it's like, it's an unnatural hormone therapy. Because if you want to be one of these fucking Darwinist pigs who says that that's just the way that it should be, it's like, how many people would just be dead from diabetes? How many people were dead before insulin was made?
There are women who are on hormones for, if you have to have a hysterectomy, it can really, they don't usually do hysterectomies because of how it changes your hormones and stuff. And so women have to be on them to be regulated, artificially, they have to be given hormones to be, to feel normal because of medical things, like hysterectomies or whatever they've got going on. So but that's gender affirming. But it's just because these people are obsessed with trans people. That's what it comes down to, because they're very curious and because they're interested and because what a lot of people think is that everybody's just trans and that they're just jealous that these people get to be out there and living their lives and just doing whatever they want. So they're just resentful. Yeah,
even though
they're basement bitches.
Even though that due to all that resentment, those people that they're jealous of for living their lives are under constant scrutiny and attack nonstop because of pieces of shit like Matt Walsh. And, But and it's funny. It's like this whole it's like hormone therapy. Just even thinking of that, where it's like, God, I used to. At least it used to be a sponsor of the Mariners, I think. So I would hear it about testosterone clinics for men. I'm sure they're still around. Yeah. They were everywhere at one point.
He's talking about testosterone dropping in men. He's probably totally for testosterone treatment for men.
Sure, yeah. I mean, Joe Rogan gets TRT. It's testosterone replacement therapy. That happens. It's great. It's great for men. I'm sure there's a lot of science behind it, and it's like, but you know what? It's like, this is okay for you to get because you feel tired and have less libido. So that's okay, but hormone replacement therapy for people to actually save their fucking lives and maybe keep them from committing suicide at age 22.
Because they
are you fucking serious?
Healthcare, because they
see it as
people.
Cosmetic. Oof. Yeah, because at the root of it, they don't understand gender as a social construct. They just don't understand gender at all.
Because motherfuckers like Matt Walsh make documentaries that say, what is a woman? They go to a gender studies professor who actually answers what a woman is within the confines of the gender constructs that we have in our society, and he just plays music over it and is like, blah, blah, blah. Oh, these liberals, they can't give a simple answer. And it's like...
And even if he was looking to accept a complex answer, it's like, why? Why do you need this answered? Why? Because it can be obviously very interesting. That's why there's huge classes on gender. It's like, but what? What are you here for?
This is propaganda.
Exactly, Tucker. Thank you.
Bad faith.
Oh,
that's what it is. It's also, I want to, because I when this topic comes up, I always want to make it clear that I have friends that have fake breasts. I've slept with women that have had cosmetic surgery. I don't judge people for it.
Okay. Sorry.
But I am such an idealist that I'm like, what a bummer of a society that we have an entire industry devoted to making people look like a quote-unquote perfect person, because that's where all of value lies. That's what it comes to. It's so much deeper than any individual fucking Kim Kardashian bullshit about that.
Yeah.
I just always want to make that clear, that I'm not judging people for getting cosmetic.
You are.
I would never say don't do it. I'd be like, whatever. I mean, I think that it's just sad that that's where...
Once again, you're looking at the system.
The patriarchy.
Saying it's unfortunate that you have that desire instead of
to begin with, that we
your
even
body.
Have those...
Because other people will love your body. So
because of the patriarchy and capitalism, it's become an industry that's predatory, and now it's just feeding on itself. And then you just kind of have to get used to it. That it's like, well, people can do what they want to do or whatever. And it's like, but there's so much more going into why you think that would make you happy.
Yeah, because you would see it differently,
particular
right?
Thing would make you happy.
You would see it differently if if we existed outside of those systems as
utopia?
a society. Yeah, where it's like, if there wasn't the profit motive, behind not just getting, these surgeries or whatever, but the profit motive behind pushing gendered aesthetic norms and stuff like that, and making people so self-conscious like that. It's funny how
Especially
making
women.
people self-conscious is an industry. Well, I mean, it honestly goes for both sides. It's just that for women, it's unfortunately way bigger of an issue to change to what it's meant to be. Like for men, it's like, sure, all that stuff, it can be pushed just as much, but it's as easily done as hitting the gym, taking some roids, and growing a beard or something like that.
And also, men's value is not tied up in their looks as much as women's, because that is the patriarchy, the hypersexuality of women, and then all that kind of stuff. So it's
existing
different,
outside of these in our this thought experiment, you would not, I would guess, feel the same way about these cosmetic surgeries, because I mean, to do it for looks, for people wanting to look a certain way, because it wouldn't be the same thing. It would be like how people like getting tattoos. They'd like to augment their body. They'd like to change their body. They'd like to do something like that. It's like if we lived in a different society, then that same surgery would be lumped in with like, well, it's like an extreme haircut, It'd be like, it's like people already get, there's a reason that
body modification.
Someone like you, I don't want to say it this way, but someone with that view, like you have, like many people do, like I somewhat do, don't lump that in with, getting a bunch of piercings and tattoos, where it's
because you don't go under anesthesia to get tattoos and stuff.
Well,
Kanye's mom died getting an elective surgery. So anytime you go under anesthesia,
people can get HIV from getting tattoos too. I'm just
saying, not going to not wake up from a tattoo.
But you're not looking at this from the perspective of the fact that surgery is dangerous. It's this.
I do.
Well,
that's definitely a part of it too.
What you're saying before, though, it's the desire that has been
where that comes
cultivated. Yeah, exactly, through these patriarchal systems and stuff like that, and like you said, predatory. Predatory aesthetics industry that we have. Actually, that is so American. Like, it's gross.
In Sex and the City, there's an episode where Samantha, I forget what she's going in for, maybe some Botox or something, and then the doctor's like, oh yeah, well we could do, like he opens her gown, there's like, well we could lift here, we could do this, and then like after he leaves the room, she's looking at herself in the mirror, and it has like all this marker drawn on her, like of all the changes that they could make to her body, and she was
that
like,
she wasn't asking for.
Like she didn't.
Right.
Yeah, and it was exactly.
Pointed
and
out
yes,
to her.
Like that he was like, well, yes. It was a really, she doesn't go through that stuff. Maybe she gets Botox and it's kind of funny or whatever. I can't remember the episode exactly, but it was an interesting. It's like, and then that can really make you insecure once someone starts pointing out how it could be better. All you have to do is pay, and you can look at, this little tiny thing that you don't like right here. Also, Samantha has a kick-ass body too, but it is like you could always have more perfect breasts, perfect, whatever you want to call that.
Is that the main one? Is that what's her name?
Your hips could be this way. You could
Samantha?
No, it's not Sarah Jessica Parker. Samantha is the one that, she's the slut. She's my hero. One? She's very, she's very successful, and she fucks everybody. I love her. She's my idol.
Cool. Okay. I've never watched that show, so I know that,
it's a good show.
It's pretty good, so... But I just look at that show. I'm just like,
this is propaganda.
So it's liberal propaganda. And I didn't mean
Milo
to be
saying feminism is cancer.
And I didn't mean to be trying to put words into your mouth earlier. I'm just trying to explain what my response to I was trying to lay out what I was saying.
I think that you're exactly right. That that it would be looked at differently in a different society if we had a different perspective on our bodies, and health, and what that means, rather health and looks, and how the the intersection of them, you know, like people getting surgery not because it's healthier to have larger breasts or a bigger butt, that's for sure.
Yeah.
It looks good, but
Sometimes.
so does being
That's
really
all
healthy.
subjective.
I mean, yeah, sometimes. And like Brazilian butt lifts in particular have like a very bad track record
Yeah.
of being dangerous.
Exactly.
Like, that dying from them.
Who was it?
And,
Cardi B
yeah,
had a problem
like,
with that, right? Or one of the celebrities, I forget which one.
like-
Like, it was a serious issue.
It's like a really huge process too. You can't sit down on it or anything
Yeah.
I mean, it's like a big major surgery for aesthetics.
Yes,
like,
I know someone
that
who's
because-
gone through it. She has a very large,
Yeah, because-
beautiful rear end, and it's like
I'm
you have
sure
to go
it
through
is.
all of that. Like, oh my god, you know. And
I know, and some of these are not, they're like 10 or 15 years, and you have, you know, they're not like lifetime
Yeah.
things. You have to have, there's maintenance
Yep.
on these surgeries.
Oh, yeah.
So it just seems like,
you
for
have
the
to fly
purpose
down to
of-
Mexico
yeah,
really quick, like
Like-
she did. Over
Yeah.
a weekend, so that you can come back
Yeah.
and lay on your stomach for a week again. It's like, oh my god.
Imagine flying back.
Yeah.
Oof, that sounds like a nightmare. All for a beauty standard, you know.
Yeah.
Because, and partially some of these, because women make money, you know, and their bodies are a part of that. And I'm totally pro sex work and all that kind of stuff and blah, 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 blah. But because of this idea of, you know, because of this beauty standard, like that's what they go through to even be doing this work, to be like competitive, you know, like because there isn't, because we don't have a good attitude about everyone is beautiful, though. I mean, there are places that and you know what the funny thing is that I found,
know what?
is that men do think that all women are pretty much beautiful. They like boobs and they like pussy and they like ass, and there are women that are
And face.
more aesthetically like immediately. Well, duh, but sure, they like mouths, but and hips and shoulders and
Yeah,
literally
anything with a hole.
everything about literally
Bruh.
everything about women. I feel like men like
Yeah.
it's, and people are like, yeah, it's women that are so like critical. I'm like, yeah, because we've been taught to be that way because of the male gaze
Because
and
of
stuff. But when it comes
patriarchy.
down to it, men are just horny monsters. Yeah, that like a lot of the ways that women look, a lot of different ways.
Sure.
Wow.
Exactly.
Any kind of way that a woman can look.
Yeah.
There's a lot
There's someone for
of
ya.
men that are down.
Yeah. If
For-
you're just
there's a
talking
lot
about
of people
sexual
for ya.
dynamics too. Yeah, exactly. But
Socialism is when no car.
and that's
That's so true.
that is what
so
we were talking
true.
about this entire time. Is that socialism is when no car.
This is politics.
So let's see. I mean, we can just keep going because we missed a week, so I don't know how long you want to go here. Unnatural process of hormone therapy, and then we had some dumbass discussion about women's bodies, blah blah blah, whatever that was.
Yeah,
I slept through
and
that.
we were just all talking about ass and titties
Yeah,
and
I was
mouths
like,
and stuff. I was like, you're so
ass
gross,
and
Doug.
titties, ass and titties. So the saying, okay, or should I do this? So, well, speaking of this culture war crap, okay, this one, I haven't read through this since I did a talk to text. So let's see what this says. Talk to text while I was driving. So getting culture war issues into by, this is bad. Okay. So culture war issues. Okay. So we've got them by filtering them out of academia and into the discussions of people that have absolutely no background in the social sciences that they are discussing. That's the biggest problem. So that kind of goes back to like how we're saying, you know, and gender, and we're all like, it becomes a culture war issue, but it only came out of academia. And so then it gets filtered down to the people that are talking about it at the fucking counter, just talking some poor service worker to death while they're like, yeah, now men think they can be women, and blah, 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 or whatever it might be, or at the bar, or on cable news even, you know. But getting into these culture war issues by filtering them out of academia and into the discussions of people that have absolutely no background in the social sciences that they are discussing is the biggest problem. Think about, white privilege, or gender studies, or intersectional issues, etc. Just think about the immediate defensiveness of people on the reactionary side because they have absolutely no background in having these discussions in the first place. Does that make sense to you? Like,
yes.
That's like what this issue is here. That's why I think the white privilege thing is what got it in my mind. Not gender issues, but that it applies there too, where it's like, the backlash is, of course, like this defensiveness, right? We see that with white privilege. Well, I'm not privileged. I grew up poor, or blah, 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 blah. You know, you think just because I'm white, now I should, that I have it better than LeBron James, or whatever it might be. But it's like the reason that is your, that is your immediate reaction, or that is your like take, that's your opinion on it now, is because all you had was you know, this dumbed down version that can only get to you through heavy bias. Like, there's no way that it can't, because it is a complex issue, right? And so to be able to get it across to you on a cable news program, or fucking Tim Pool reading about it, or some garbage like that, or even on our side. I mean, although on the left, it's like, hey, there's a reason that we're all, instead of like watching Fox News, we're listening to like 2-hour-long video essays and stuff like that. It's because
we're nerds.
Yeah, because to get to the to get on this side, guys, to get to our side of the opinion aisle here on social issues and culture war issues, you have to have like learned something. Like, you have to get back to where these issues were developed in the first place, and it's always in academia. It's with smart fucking people that have been studying this stuff, that are doing their, you know, something like, you know, and like critical race theory or something. It's like, yeah, these are PhDs that are discussing this stuff, and even getting to us on the left, or someone who is interested in critical race theory or something like that. Even that is going to be biased, because if we're watching an hour-long deep dive YouTube video essay on it or something, or reading like this interesting article about it, you know, in whatever fucking leftist read, I don't know, Jacobin, you know. Did you get your issue? I talked to Kelsey about that.
It's really great.
But it's like, there's no way the culture war cannot be won. It's only played by those who give us the info, you know? And it's like...
And you know what? So much of it is, I think Tucker said it best.
It's just a fact.
Propaganda.
Yeah.
It's very cringe when you do that.
This is propaganda.
The immediate defensiveness, that's something that I've dealt with people that we are very close with. That it's like, okay, this is where I'll start to sound like one of these condescending, arrogant leftists and stuff. I'm like, well,
it's because
I went
you're
to college
a raving
for
radical
this reason.
feminist monster.
Bitch.
Yeah, I think, what are you, like 6'6", right, or something? And then you, with the broader shoulders
My
than
dick
me.
is so big.
Yeah, exactly. You just throw your hog on the table, you're like, I've done the research.
Yeah, it's like, I've dedicated a lot of time to this particular sort of field of study because I find it very interesting already, you know, and the thing, like you're saying, these people that are immediately defensive, because I know that some of these people, that an insecurity of theirs would be that they didn't go to college, that they only have a high school diploma or an AA or whatever it is. And so they're like, oh, because you have a college degree, it's like, well,
yeah,
kind of, that maybe you would think that potentially I know a little bit more about this particular subject because I've read a lot of fucking books about it and I've like written a lot of papers on it. And maybe instead of being defensive, you could like listen to me instead of thinking that while you were raising 4 kids and running a business,
which
and
is good,
blah 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 blah,
yeah.
that maybe you,
but it's not good,
which is amazing, and I admire you, and you're
getting
incredible.
A minor in gender studies.
Nuanced. It's not a nuanced look at the entire history of America and the patriarchy and all of this, where like because you just have not had the time to think about it, because how could you possibly?
Yeah.
Because I have done it, and I haven't raised 4 kids, and all these different things where it's like I've just had that. I am incredibly privileged to have the time to even think about it. So maybe let me do not let me do the thinking for you, but I can present some of this information to you. Just because it's coming from someone younger or someone with a college degree or whatever it is, doesn't mean that I'm arrogant. It means that I know something you don't.
Yeah.
Then that's not arrogant. It's because I've just genuinely had the time. I don't go to my mechanic and be like, I don't think that you know what you're. I know what you're talking. I know what's wrong with my car.
My
I've never
first thought
opened the
right
hood
now
before,
is like,
but
yeah, you don't even fucking change your oil, Natalie. No, but I was gonna say,
I just keep adding
where it's
oil.
just
I
like,
didn't check it.
just because you have a college degree, it's like, yeah, it's almost like saying, oh, just because you were actually playing minor league baseball, you think you can throw a fastball on me or something? It's like, yes, of course I do. It's like,
that's exactly
just because
why,
you played
I have a bunch
Division
of
I college ball, you think you'll beat me 1-on-1? Yes, of course. It's like,
it's like,
but
that's where my experience is in all of these thoughtful discussions and stuff. It's like, that is my experience. Your lived experience is important and all that kind of stuff, but that is not how research works, like anecdotal evidence. It's like I have been able.
Well, this can particularly
really
apply to you
deal with
then,
the defensive of,
because that defense you have
to not
to
be such an arrogant leftist.
Well, I mean, not to put it that way, no, but just to that you have to accept that that defensiveness, is inevitable. That it's something that has to be worked with instead of pushed against in a way, because of how any plebes like myself, compared to you, like, even doesn't even have to be, the moderate white liberal that you're talking about, or it can be me. I didn't get a degree in gender studies. I don't know this stuff. I only know what has been. Yeah, I'm an economist. And I only know what has been filtered to me for these issues that end up being in the culture war, and it's particularly about culture war type issues, because they're so often boiled down even further into like sound bites. That's the fact that OK groomer is even a thing, but it's like
because of capitalism, because the media has to make money, so it's all sensationalized and stupid. So it's all within like a 30-minute segment. You're going to commercial break. You're you're trying to push this like adversarial, people like conflict. So you have a lot of that with no good faith sort of like trying to understand, like you're saying, sound bites and clips like that, digs on because it's all
yes. The
because
capitalism,
they want to make money.
Yeah, capitalism is the reason we're having the discussion. That's why it's in the culture war. That's right. Because otherwise, we're like, oh, why does this complex subject have to? The problem is that it's being taken out of academia and being boiled down, which is always bad for it, right? But it's like the reason that we're even having this discussion is because media fomented divisions, and there's there's it's not just the media, but the media is playing the part of other capital owners that make money off this bullshit. But it's like, if you take a step back, it's almost funny. It's like, wait, why, when you take the culture war aspect out of it, and what got us here, it's like, wait, why does a farmer in Iowa have an opinion on gender identity? Why are we having these discussions? It's like, because that's a good point. I wish I could see it more clearly, but I like what you're saying there, but my first reaction where it's like, well, no, it's not just the media pushing it. It's like, oh yeah, no, it is. It like the fact that we're having these discussions, like why do we have this need to talk about race relations in that way? I mean, there are actual concrete things that people across the spectrum will be agreeing on. But when, like, the complex issues, like something from critical race theory or, police abolition and, like, things like that are given to us, are pushed upon us so that that's what we're talking about, there's no way it ends up going well, because we are not experts. None of us are. And we have this need to have an opinion on it because that's what we're all talking about. Instead of, when it comes down to it, if we made it simple and looked at it more simply, we would all kind of agree on a lot of this stuff.
And if you ever wanted to look into it more nuanced, when would you have the fucking time? Because you're at work, and then when and then because of the media, then you have to go really out of your way to look for something. I mean, we spend a lot of time on YouTube, but not everybody else does. People are on Facebook or Instagram or whatever, TikTok, and getting like
that time you could be spending learning
hour-long video essays.
Yeah, that time you could be spending learning, those few moments for a lot of people. Instead, you're just engaging in the culture war debate. So no one's learning anything.
Yeah. People are just making money off of our ignorance.
These people are sick.
And Russia is getting away with way more than that with our ignorance, fomenting division among people for very specific political reasons as well.
Like anyone would.
So there's a lot of reasons to... Because it's so easy.
No, I mean not anyone.
America.
Like any any bad actor would. Not just Russia or some other nation state, but any large capital owner that stands to gain from this. I don't know. I hear you talking about gender, and I just like...
Sounds like you're pretty into this, buddy.
I like that. I just went to I think that's from like the most recent This Week in Benny Chapeno or something. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to open up a random Arun video and just skip to a part. And I was like, good. I'm taking that right now.
Yeah. He's so perfect.
He's the best.
We should just clip his entire show and then you press it and then that's our podcast. It's just his show.
And I just pause it and we laugh and then I continue on.
Yes. Good one, RM.
So to close this up, because it's about an hour and a half, another thing that I've written down that I thought that you would like. That's the only reason I write these things down. I was like, I think Natalie would like this.
For me?
I think Natalie would like to talk about
I do. You're so smart.
Yeah, you're so smart to know that I might like things.
To think about things in reference to
what I would or would not like.
Yes, exactly.
So the saying, I just think it's kind of funny that this very well accepted view, this well accepted saying, the saying, a chain is only as strong as its weakest link, yet we still just go on with unbridled individualism. And that's kind of crazy, right?
Nice.
Why do we do this?
See, this is one of my favorite things to do, is to think about sayings like this and what they actually mean, like within the context of our society. And it's like, this doesn't even make any sense why we have this saying and we live this way.
Yeah. Because our actions do not speak to us accepting that as a as a meaningful idiom, you know? What we like.
I love my idioms.
Yeah, I'm a real idiom. My dad always called me an idiom. And
my dad always called me an oxymoron.
And an idiom. That's why he says I hurt my brain when he threw me out as a baby with the bathwater.
Nice.
There's something. There's something there. There's something there.
And scene.
The N-word.
Oh, wrong one. But yeah, it's like, so we can say these things, right? That's what you're talking about. You think about these accepted idioms or phrases.
There's no such thing as a free lunch.
Yeah, where it's
those
like,
kinds of horrible sayings we have.
What do you? Yeah, how does this actually apply to what we do as a society, or do we act?
So are we?
And if we don't do anything about it, do we believe that? Is there any purpose to having this saying? Because a chain is only as strong as its weakest link. It's like,
why don't we want the weakest links to be stronger?
And it's like,
why would you want the weakest links to be homeless and dying in the streets?
Yeah, and
that's
it's
a pretty weak
why
link,
do you
I
just
think.
want a box full of loose links instead of a chain? If you're talking about a chain, we're all connected. We have to stick together, literally. We are linked. We are linked
how they work.
together. And like, and if we
a box of loose,
we're just a box of loose links. And like, if you separate us in any way, we are no longer a chain. We're not even talking about how strong the chain is. You're not a chain anymore. You're a box of loose links.
Like you don't. And a box of loose links is completely worthless unless you want to what? Make a fucking chain.
Yeah.
So I think that's some good insight. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what you have to do?
So are we a chain or are we a box of loose links?
And you know what it takes to turn a box of loose links into a chain? It takes labor. Boom.
Nice.
That
okay, Carl.
is right. You know, we
That's
could
good.
talk about
That's a good
stuff that people are actually talking about. I did write down something about AOC's vote against the rail workers strike. But some of this, I'm just like, I'm stupid. I don't know enough about this. But I thought...
I just want to complain about Matt Walsh.
Yeah, I'm just going to call Matt Walsh a piece of shit and talk about box of loose links that aren't a chain anymore because it's just a box. Well, what's the box in this? Well, the box...
That's
the
society,
box is
I
the
think.
nation.
Or wait, that's the chain.
And the loose links is just the nuclear families everywhere. But...
Yeah, you're right. You're not
I did
smart.
say, because this was a couple weeks ago, so this is an old tweet, but... I did write the vote against the rail workers strike is the worst thing that AOC has done, not just because of the vote itself, but because it's an immediate and obvious catalyst for more of the same garbage, infighting, leftist purity test nonsense that keeps our political foundation so unstable in the first place. And then I actually wrote, look at this goddamn thread, and I put a Twitter thread here. So, here we go. Let's see. So, because, and this drives me insane, okay? So, you can hate AOC's vote here, right? Okay?
Sure.
Of course you can. I mean, she has her reasons for it, I guess. I don't understand it politically. I don't get it. But, because it's like, I mean, it's just proven true. Like, she isn't, like, taking big money donations or something like that. I just don't get it. But... and she has, I'm sure she's explained it, and I love her, so I'm biased. But, so we got someone here, today I attended no, I won't make fun of her. Today I attended a DSA general chapter meeting, my first in a year, where they voted 71-14 against discussing expulsion of AOC, Jamal Bowman, and Cori Bush. Expulsion from the DSA. 80% were unwilling to even discuss the idea. I gave up hope long ago, but now I'm certain the DSA as an organization is beyond repair. Bitch, like, whether you... Even if, of course, you wholeheartedly disagree with her vote on this one issue at this point in time, like, you're mad that they won't waste fucking time, in my opinion, discussing the expulsion of your most prominent political figure from the organization. The DSA is not that big, man. And even though it's not that big, it's the largest socialist organization in America. What the fuck is wrong with you? And that's that purity test crap. And
right there, what she said, it's beyond repair.
Yeah.
I want to slap her and be like, that's the kind of garbage. You're the kind of person who would call Hassan a fucking racist. Like, that's the level of, like, that's the lack of depth that you have in this issue. You're like, you're talking about the DSA and like what they wanted to do with workers' rights and all these kinds of things. Now it is completely beyond repair because of this one vote. That's your level of...
And not because of AOC's vote, but because people are, quote, unwilling to discuss the expulsion. Yeah. Like, why? Yeah. Why even bring it to the table? Like, do we want to discuss it? No, because we're not going to expel her, dummy.
And because we have bigger fucking fish to fry.
I mean, it's a huge fish right now. The rail workers strike.
Let's understand.
But look at what happened anyway.
I know, but I'm just saying, that's like...
And so let's go further through this thread.
Understand baby steps, though?
No.
Like, do they do any... It's like...
Well, this can be a step backward, but... It's like these reactions. That's why I hate it. I'm like, not just politically, but I'm like, AOC, don't you know that people are going to be like this? Like, so she continues.
Yeah, I don't really understand
One
that.
member stated that the DSA should actually praise Bowman for securing 7 days of paid sick leave, which, yeah, that's trash. But I've officially revoked membership. Organizations need to be able to self-scrutinize and be willing to change course to adhere to their principles. Okay, so now someone else right here. I'd understand.
Also,
go ahead.
How are people going to do that if you're quitting the organization? Aren't you one of the voices that you're saying needs to be heard, and instead you're just going to throw in the towel because you're a little bitch
after
who can't handle
attending
it?
your first general chapter meeting in a year?
Yeah. Oh yeah, you want to get out because of this sitting member of Congress who actually went and did something with her life, you know? Like, I'm not saying I've disagreed AOC with her vote on Israel, like her non-vote there.
That was dumb.
There's been some times where I'm like, because they're not as progressive, because they're progressives in America.
And she's not perfect
and
anyway.
They're just not as progressive because she's and whatever, but to spend the time voting, and she's back to one meeting, and because of that one thing that they wouldn't even discuss it, that's
like
she's
straight up.
What kind of fucking change are you ever going to affect?
It's like, oh, you don't want to engage in some reality show level fucking drama? Ugh, you guys can't adhere to your principles. It's like, the fuck did you want to happen from a discussion over the expulsion of 3 of the most prominent members of the DSA? But... So someone says, well, I'd understand debating to expel AOC, Bush, or Bowman if there were over 100 of them in Congress, but there isn't. If you do, you're essentially surrendering your only platform, which, okay, yes, that's a pragmatic response. Mm-hmm. And so another DSA member, I guess, probably, socialist. If your platform can only be sustained by treachery and unprincipled revisionism, then you must either accept you must start over or accept that you are a traitor to the class struggle. Like, because you don't want to discuss expelling AOC from the DSA.
You are a traitor to the class struggle. Fuck off. Like, legit. Like, and you have to either start over. It's like, okay, so you want
There's
change,
some good responses
right?
here.
And you have this institution that's there's like already like this large, the DSA, it's not the Democratic Party or the Republican Party, but it's a large organization that
they did really well in the midterms.
Momentum. So what you want to do is to start over because of that? Are you fucking joking me?
Because it's like, well, obviously it's irreparably broken. You know, it's like, So okay. Actually, there's some good responses, but it was when I saw it before. I was like, oh God, do people agree with this bullshit? And some people do. But yeah, someone says cosplay communism coming in for the lol-worthy self-own. And they said Mildred, which is the communism. Original poster here, Mildred and the edgy randos online, and they have Be Still My Heart, a Simpsons gif of Flanders' parents because they were beatniks, and that classic. It's like, we've tried nothing and we're all out of ideas. And
exactly.
Yeah, and another good one.
Sat through one meeting.
Totally unattainable purity tests are not actually an effective way to achieve your political goals. And another, expelling your most powerful elected officials is a great way to make your organization more influential.
Yes, and it's like, again, about this welcoming party. How do you think that people would see that? How would that in any way, on either like drawing people in from other leftists or more from the center or whatever, it's like, how would that move help you bring in members?
Yeah.
They would see it as this gatekeeping, arrogant leftist that nobody is good enough for, when AOC, regardless of whether or not she is actually progressive, which is not relative to the world standard, really, but in America, she is like a feared radical leftist. Like, let's keep that going. Like,
yeah, and when you're that much more radical, someone's like, yeah, it's crazy that DSA members didn't want to give time to a small group of people that show up to meetings once a year just to lob bombs against members with actual political power to do things within the system. But I mean, and the rail workers strike, and it's really interesting, I think, with my little knowledge of it. I should know more as an economist, but was that a laugh or something? I mean,
but you're dumb. Yeah,
that Doug guy. Wow, what a piece of shit.
but it's like it does kind of suck that like on the side of like the union workers, they have both so much power because of how insanely important their job is right now. Like our rail system, it's crazy in America how we don't
it's a backbone to our economy.
And it's like it's crazy that we could do that, but we don't have a good rail system for transporting people. But that's a different discussion. But it's like it's huge for our supply chain, and it's like it's like they could be holding America hostage with this, but that's also the problem where it's like, you can do like the right thing in terms of like unionized collective bargaining, doing the right thing for the workers, but holding the rest of all of us working class people hostage is pretty rough. It gets into kind of the discussion of like, how far do you go for protests to make change when you're physically hurting people, that are fellow working class or this and that. It's like, you're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. And it's it's really interesting to me looking at it broadly, because I wish I knew more about it. I'm sure maybe I should pick up Jacobin like you've got there because you're a snob. No.
It is interesting to think about being put in a position just because of the job that you have to be thinking about these very abstract.
Yeah, think about your impact on society because you want
on
decent benefits.
Yeah. What a interesting position for workers to have to be put into.
Yeah.
Like, we have to be thinking about each other, and that's how they get us. That is exactly how they got us, because they don't want to hurt their fellow working class people.
Yeah.
They don't want to be affected by supply chain
either. They're not
either.
just fighting against a big corporation like Starbucks where, where it's very tough, it's like a battle because it's so deeply entrenched and so powerful and wealthy. But it's like, you're fighting against like the U.S. federal government on part of it, because they're kind of taking sides. It's like, oh, it's crazy because Biden actually says he's kind of supporting the rail workers, but of course he actually isn't, because he needs he also, like, because we're in a capitalist system, like needs to be on the side of these owners too, because it's making the fucking country run. And it's like, and that's what sucks.
I think Joe Biden is just petty because he he built those railways back in the 1800s, and he's just like, I didn't get benefits.
He's like, I used to work with the guy, Jack. They called him China John. We out there, worked there 14 hours a day. He was a bad dude. He's like, and we can get along. That's what we need. He's like, there are people I worked with that. I don't know. You go into super racist stuff or something, and we can all get it together. But at the end of the day, you know what? We built that railroad.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, that's right. He's like, well, it was a long time ago. It was back when he was 25. The year was 1879.
Yeah. It's during the Reconstruction era.
Yeah. During Reconstruction, I was doing construction, Jack.
I was thinking that.
You little poopy bitch.
Yeah. But okay, well, I'm getting worried about computer issues. We should probably make sure we can get saved. Too. Shout out.
Disk too slow.
Yeah, exactly.
Disk too slow.
This is lit.
Nice.
But
God.
I just look at all. I look at all of the the union issues and the strikes and the negotiations with the railway workers, and I'm just like,
oh, how I wish I could believe or understand that.
I thought you were just going to say the N-word.
The N-word. Yeah. And all I know at the end of the day,
the Constitution could suck me from the back.
Yeah, so
I agree.
Okay.
You know what? It could suck him from the back, and then he'd be like,
oh.
Oh my God.
We hate all the Muslims because all of the Muslims are terrorists. We gotta hate the Muslims.
Oh my God, Bernie. Jesus
Bernie.
Criminy.
I know, people think he's liberal. You think he's on the left?
He's on the left. Instead, he's talking about the Mexicans and saying
they're criminals and rapists.
Yeah. That he was in that thing, in that out of context thing. It's funny. He's talking trash about the GOP. Yeah.
Yes, I was gonna say he's obviously satire. Or
it was
whatever.
During the 2016 debates, I think so. The Democratic debates. I think that's what it's from. Man, he's a real firebrand. That young whippersnapper.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, SNL did that when Hillary Clinton is like, "Wow, wouldn't it be just so nice if I could just yell whatever I was thinking, like about with Bernie Sanders, like how we could just be like that." And imagine like Hillary Clinton or Kamala Harris or any of these kind of women like being so absurdly tongue-in-cheek or whatever, Bernie, how Bernie is.
Yeah.
That's definitely some privilege right there to just be like that.
I mean, Hillary's a pretty bad example. I think there are women that could pull it off. Hillary is cringe as fuck, and Kamala Harris is a fucking robot cop.
I know, but I'm just saying it would be an uphill battle for a woman to be like that.
Yeah, exactly. You'd have to have
in America,
fucking, Amy Poehler would have to be running for president or something for people to accept it as okay. Yeah, people. I mean, AOC can be like that, and she's just a shrill left-wing terrorist to so many people.
Yeah,
and it's like anyone who likes her is like, no, man, she's really speaking truth to power. She's saying the right thing. She's beautiful. She's in a good spot. Yeah. She seems smart, and it's like, oh, she's an absolute maniac that's bringing down society. Yeah. She's this horse-faced liar. It's like, man, we live in different worlds. That's all I'm saying.
Sure, I really like mine a lot better.
Yeah, exactly. Mine's a better place. It goes back to that shallow thing. It's like, hey, we're having fun over here, man.
Yeah.
We've got
sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
Exactly. You've got Charlie Kirk's tiny face, and we've got gifs of AOC dancing. All right.
Yeah, you guys have Ted Nugent.
And Ted Cruz.
And that's all you need to say.
Ted Cruz Nugent. Oh, you couldn't see me doing my quotes, my air quotes there, but.
Oh, yeah.
Or Ted Nugent Cruz. Oh, Jesus.
Oh, my God.
He's like, my pronouns are cat, scratch, and fever. Anyway, we'll wrap up the show.
Yeah.
Ted Nugent is a fucking
All right.
pedophile, and we all know it.
And worse than that.
Yeah. And shout out Aram Brown. He's the best.
Our Lord and
Thank
Savior.
you for responding to me online when I badger you. And thanks for listening all the way to the end, Arun. This
We know you
this
do.
hour and 50-minute long show.
You have the time, and this is gripping, riveting commentary.
Ooh, I was going to say that. Gripping.
I was glad I that's a good word.
Yeah, and if you think that you have the time, then just sit down and listen to it. Okay, all right.
Yeah, thanks. Love you, Zach. Love you,
All
Kelsey.
right, love you. Bye.
Okay, bye. Love you. Bye.